as criminal as the Department of Justice is, one has to be thankful that it is releasing all these files related to the Epstein case, unloading on us millions of documents. Now it is scattershot, and it is weighted in an attempt to draw attention away from the main actor, Donald Trump, and his supporters in the billionaire class. But that is really a secondary issue. Suddenly, these materials are being released. The answer is not simply to say, well, it's not enough. It's to demand complete release of everything. Everything, every illegal operation which has been going on for the last 50 years, especially the last 20 years, should be released. Let this be an enormous flood. Open up the floodgates, tear down the dam. Everything about Epstein, his connection to political parties, to political operatives, to government officials, to overhyped public intellectuals, people like Stephen Hawking or Noam Chomsky, for that matter, across the board. That deep, deep corruption, which made everyone, from left to right, top to bottom, male, female, progressive, conservative, all of them, the puppets of the rich and powerful, this should all be exposed. And with it, the deep structure by which private finance, private equity, and billionaires and multinational corporations, using a nexus especially in London, Tel Aviv, and New York, Washington, D.C., through intelligence and the military and the money laundering, using these networks of people who exploited women, exploited boys, men, exploited all sorts of people to service this new elite, this new royalty, this new kingdom of the damned. This should all be exposed, and it's not hard to do. But that's not even the start of it. All the documentation regarding the 9/11 incident and what led up to it, all the planning, all the internal materials concerning what the planning was, how it was implemented, what was done with the leftovers, and who planned it, whether it was in the UK, Israel, the United States, Saudi Arabia, or elsewhere. China, for example, and other players around the world as part of that globalist network. That all has to come out in total as well. The next stage of this process. And that's not even the beginning. We also have to expose all of these false flag operations in the United States and around the world to create shopping mall shootings, all sorts of low-level terrorist activities meant to create fear, to instill a level of anxiety which immobilizes the population and which has created this form of parallel government in which there is the government and the system of politics you see on TV, and then how things really work. And that's not enough either. We have to expose the entire special access program system by which individuals, either for experimentation to develop new technologies in the US, Israel, UK, and elsewhere, have been exposed to attacks to get using electromagnetic bombardment, directed energy, and now nanotechnology, and of course all forms of information and psychological warfare and gang stalking. That also should be coming out in this flow of information. And that's thus getting started. We have to take on the entire COVID operation. The way in which, in the COVID reign of terror, multinational, same guys, same bunch, right? Multinational banks, private equity, the billionaires behind them, using the assets in the United States, Israel, and the UK, extending out around the world, but representing wealthy people all over the world, how they used the US, Israel, UK, and elsewhere military intelligence in order to lock down the world, to impose this catastrophic takeover of the economy, to destroy local businesses, to create fear and loathing and disorient citizens so that democratic or accountable government was no longer possible, to consolidate assets, to print up money for themselves through COVID relief, and then to implement this deadly so-called vaccine which has crippled and killed so many people around the world. All those documents should flow out too. That should be the next stage as well. And that's just getting started. All the documentation, and I'll focus on the United States just because that's where I am. That's where I'm running for president. We have to look at the Federal Reserve and the Department of the Treasury, and how these two organizations, which have become totally unaccountable, have been printing up money to be given out to, again, private equity, multinational banks, multinational corporations, and increasingly the teams of billionaires in the United States and around the world to create wealth out of nowhere by magic. Now, that sort of magic of printing up money, it's called counterfeiting, by the way, if you're not familiar with the term. That is theft. That's stealing the money, the value from the money belonging to the people, empowered by the Constitution. The money is ours, it doesn't belong to them, and it's being stolen by them as part of this plan for massive redistribution. All that documentation, too, much of which is illegally classified as secret or top secret, must be released for the public as well in this process. And then, only then, will we start to get, with the ordinary woman, man in the street, start to get a picture of the immense criminality which has seized over the United States and much of what we consider to be the advanced world over the last 25 years. Starting really with the beginning of the Bush administration in February 2021, but we can trace back this sort of organized criminality much further. So all this information is out there. All of it can be released. The Epstein files is just the beginning. And I hope and I pray that all of you out there who have access to these, who have clearances, who are in government or around government, who will release all this material. Because verily, for all of us, that we should know the truth, and the truth will set us free.